Hi, welcome to Etude number 4, part 1. This is all part of the Villa-Lobos 12 and 12 challenge, where we're walking through all 12 of Villa-Lobos' etudes in a year. Due to the sheer amount of information I need to convey for this etude, I've had to split up what should have been one video into two. So the first half is going to deal with learning the etude and give you some tips and hints on how to approach it. The second half will take off from micro-study number 3 onwards, which will be from bar 5. We're going to look at the first 4 bars in this micro-study and how to learn it. Let's dive in with the best approach to learning this etude. In many ways, the approach to etude number 4 is going to be the same to etude number 1. We're going to separate the hands and learn the left hand separately from the right hand to ease the technical burden. Main points here. Touch. Your right hand is going to be doing a lot of this movement together, all 4 fingers. So you are going to develop excellent touch, but in order to do that you have to plant. Planting requires you to touch ever slightly with the pad of your skin and then flash. Touch, play, touch, play. That is it. And 9 times out of 10 you will be full planting, but that's not to say you will do it all the time. Secondly, movement from the big knuckles here, not this. You are going to get nowhere doing this. You need this. The big knuckles are where you generate all your power, and that goes for your thumb as well. Not that, that. So you need to develop this, and etude number 4 is going to do that for you. Thirdly, left hand. There are going to be all sorts of weird chords and fast agile shifts. So you need to be aware beforehand of which fingers are going where, and it's almost the same as learning to play piano. A pianist playing chord progressions will try and keep as many chords and notes together in the same chord that he can, and the same goes for this. Your left hand, try and keep as many fingers on the fretboard within chord changes that are possible. The section to this is slightly different. With this study and with the coda, you are now starting to look towards etudes 10, 11 and 12 for sure. So you're going to start developing being able to play your thumb across your bass strings with IMA, and your left hand up and down the bass strings as well. Welcome to micro-study number 1. Micro-study number 1 is just going to focus on the right hand and the right hand mechanism. Key to getting everything correct in micro-study number 1 is going to be full planting, and you can hear when I don't full plant because you will hear my nail touch the string, not the pad of my finger, and it makes a distinct sound on the nylon strings. So this is me not planting correctly, and this is me planting. So you should be able to hear the pads just cut the strings and then the nail stroking through, not the nail cutting the strings. So we're going to take a closer look with my handy J7 phone at what my right hand is doing. So currently I'm planting nice and cleanly. Well, there I didn't. So if I slow it down now and you have a look at my right hand, you go right in. So make sure that your right hand is pad nail for planting. Overall, the study is going to be about right hand fine control. You can start to build that into the next open string measures. Practice getting your tone even across all 4 fingers. Not one finger stands out above the others unless you wanted to. And then practice getting fingers to stand out. A thumb finger, because there is going to be moments where there is a bass or tenor melody, or generally the A finger needs to stand out a little. One of the key ways to do that is to change the angle of your right hand from modern to old school. And you'll get a slight graduation in tone changes, but once you start moving that cello section of the guitar, that really starts to stand out. But this is for later stages of this piece. Let's check out those open string measures now. Microstudy number 1 is made up of all the generalized right hand patterns throughout the etude number 4. So I've split them up into 5 measures. Let's take a look at measure number 1. Measure number 2. Measure number 3. Measure number 4. Right, those first 4 measures only use P, I, M, A with a string each. The next one is the coda section for etude number 4, and it uses P across 3 strings, then 2 strings, and then back to P, I, M, A across 4 strings. And it sounds like this. Right, so a couple of key pointers here. First things, if you have movement, which you do in measure number 4, your arm needs to come forward and backwards and slide across the bout of the guitars. Almost like a typewriter, nice and slowly whip back to get back into position. Measure number 3 only uses IMA in the middle, and it's one of the patterns that you get nearer the middle to end of this etude. A little tip here is possibly planting your thumb on the 6th string after you've played the strings, but it depends on whether you want to stop the 6th string. What I would also do is I would start practicing tone changes to try and get the A finger out, because a majority of etude number 4 uses a melody on the A finger. That being said, it is also good to practice it so that you don't have any fingers standing out. So what do I mean by that? I mean making sure that, say, your thumb isn't heavy. Or maybe, say, your A finger. Or even your I finger. So the tone is even across all 4 fingers. That is really good, excellent right hand fine control right there. And this exercise is all about that. Right hand fine control. Let's move on to some left hand work now. Welcome to microstudy number 2. This is the first 3 bars of the piece, just looking at the left hand. There's no repetitive right hand at all. So, key things to keep in mind here are trying to keep your changes to your left hand fingers minimum, or thinking ahead to the next chord to make it easier. So for chords 1, 2 and 3, open G major chord with the 1st finger, then 2nd finger, 3rd finger, barré for the 2nd chord. Then your 2nd finger slides down back to that open G chord. Why? Well, first, it gives you a cutting off point for the open strings when you go into chord number 2, and secondly, there is less shifting. That is the first 3 chords. We want finger number 2 here because the next chord in the next bar is going to be using 3, 4 and 1, and so we can get them prepped. Our brain can send signals so that as it is, you can see my fingers are already almost in that shape, and then chord 1, so that is bar number 2. 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. Now, I have done a focus bar for this shift because this shift is actually quite tough. And we'll dive into that next. So let's have a... Okay, so coming back to that tricky change in bar number 2, beats 2 to 3, I have done a short focus section on this where it is good to get common fingers together first so that your brain knows which fingers to move. So if you remember, we're from this shape here, we'll move into this shape. So stage 1 would be just to move. Recognize that those 2 fingers stay in the same shape, just move up and across one fret. Second stage is to recognize that your third finger, which is not in the first chord, can be prepped and ready to rock it out, and then now this is quite tough. If you haven't practiced doing this very often with these three fingers, you're going to find it a little bit difficult. So the top tip would be to play G major, D major, A major, E major. A little bit of an old chestnut there, but with only those three fingers. And then stage 3 is to put all the notes back in and then work on the barre. So you pivot on the first finger, barre down, and then you're into the next change. So that is bar number 2's focus. Bar 3 fingering is 4, 2, 1. F natural, A, C. So it's an F chord. Why is the 4 on the F and not the 3? Because the next chord involves a G and an E flat, and so you want to have at least one finger prepped for that G up there. So the third finger is again aiming up, and then G, E flat, G, B, 1 and 3 fingers. And then next prepared fingers, second finger goes down behind finger 3 for the D7. So we have an F sharp, an A and a C. 2, 3, 1. So if I and one little thing, this third finger is going to become a guide finger into the next chord. So from the D7, slides up from an A to a C, and we're into the next bar and the next video. Thank you for staying to the end until part 1. Part 2 will literally just pop up now. You'll find it in one of the little handy graphic boxes. Again, this is part of the Villa-Lobos 12 and 12 challenge. It is a community challenge, so please get involved. I implore you. More people that are involved, the better, the easier, the more knowledge we can bring to these fantastic studies. Have a good day.